historic law on Friday, one that will grant paid medical leave to women suffering from severe period pain. It makes it the first European nation with a legislation. It requires a doctor's approval, of course, like any other sick leave. Spain says that move aims to breaking taboo, and it is a step towards discussing a health problem that is usually swept under the carpet. Currently, menstrual leave is offered in only a small number of countries like Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Indonesia, and Zambia.
Dr. Cuteris, so good to have you here on Mirror Now. Thank you very much for your time. Spain, as you know, has become the first country in Europe to give women paid menstrual leaves. Opinion in India, around the world, is very sharply divided. Where do you stand?
Thank you so much for having me. I am very happy that we are, existing in a world where this concept exists and we're able to have these kind of conversations on national television. I think, if nothing else, this has at least moved the period conversation into the public light, which is great.
So the obvious question, is it time for India as well to at least start thinking on these lines?
Absolutely. And given the fact that so many medical conditions, particularly with periods, they take so long to get diagnosed because we've normalized period pain so much, which is actually, there is a little bit of pain, sure, but it shouldn't be significant pain. And we've normalized significant pain as well. So the fact that we have conversations like this and we have companies that are taking initiatives to provide menstrual leave to people, it's amazing. And we need more companies to step into this. We need more policy level changes on this, and we need more government level changes on this.
But there is a counter argument to that if you want gender parity at a workplace, then don't ask for this special treatment.
Let's consider it this way, that men also get a special accommodation. There's the gender pay gap, right? Men get paid more for the same amount of work compared to women. So they're getting a special accommodation. Women are also getting a special accommodation that way. But I don't want to indulge in whataboutery. I think it's also important to remember that we do make a lot of accommodations for different individuals. For example, there's a lot of disability accommodations that do exist in workplaces and they're mandated by law. And I'm absolutely not saying that period pain is a disability, but for a lot of people, period pain does become a chronic health condition. And if we do make accommodations for those situations, why can we not do it for this as well? When you have a more inclusive and accommodating work environment, you have better productivity. And at the end of it, it comes down to productivity, right? If people are able to work in a more comfortable environment, they're able to be more productive. If you want to relate this with, say, the fact that in certain countries, especially in Europe now, they're introducing the 4-day work week, which means people are getting 3 days off in a week, and they've seen an unprecedented rise in productivity, even though people are coming to the office less. So if it boils down to productivity at the end of the day, why can we not make it a more comfortable environment for other people as well, who may have situations that require a little bit more support and, inclusivity?
Dr. Cuteris, can I ask you, I don't think many people understand menstrual pain and just how bad it can be. There's a lot of argument, if you make menstrual leaves available to people, it'll be misused. Fact is, very many working women across this country, forget the world, do need that leave. Could you help explain to our viewers why we see that pain, that extreme level of pain?
Actually, let me just quickly touch on why period pains happens in the first place. So it's, a little understandable for everybody. And I've just got a quick uterus model over here. This is the uterus. There's a lining on the inside that is called the endometrium. This lining is shed out every month. If you get pregnant, it's not shed out. Think of it like your uterus is preparing for a baby to come in, and it's making the environment cozy by collecting lots of blankets. If the baby comes in, the blankets become into a home. If the baby doesn't come in, the uterus throws out those blankets, and that blanket is like the endometrium. Now, because there's a very small opening through which everything can exit the uterus, we have special chemicals in the body that squeeze the uterus, like you would squeeze a lemon when you're making, I don't know, shikanji. These chemicals that squeeze the uterus, that is what leads to pain. So a certain amount of period pain is quite normal, but not significant period pain. Think of it like if you go work out, you get a little bit of soreness the next day. If you haven't worked out in a while, that is normal. But if you're in significant pain, you do need to go to a doctor because there's a potential that you might have injured yourself. The same thing happens with a lot of conditions that are related to periods. For example, there is a condition called endometriosis, where that blanket, the endometrium that's supposed to grow inside the uterus, it starts growing into other parts of the body, which means that this blood cannot come out. You know, when you're menstruating and say you have some, when you're on your period essentially, and you have some endometrial tissue, say, I don't know, on your liver, that blood cannot exit the body, which means that it leads to a lot of pain and scarring and, you know, chronic pelvic conditions. So one thing very important to remember here is that on average, it takes about 7 years of going to the doctor, 7 consecutive years of going to the doctor to be diagnosed with endometriosis. So there's a very significant amount of chronic pain involved because of the dismissal of such issues and the refusal to talk about them, which also means that because it takes so long to diagnose, which means that there's a very large population that may not be diagnosed and has been going through debilitating period pain. Current estimates say about 1/3 of all women face very severe period pain. 1/3 is a very significant number. It's not a small number. So there are significant impacts of going through periods and the amount of pain that comes with it. And it's a very under-researched and underfunded area in general.
And finally, that argument, why, if you do want to take leave, why call it menstrual leave? Just avail your medical leave. What's the problem in that? Why have a special leave category for women who have painful periods?
But why not? I think periods have a significant impact on people who have them. So why are we so afraid of creating a safer and a healthier work environment? What is so shameful about it, and what is so unpleasant about it? It's just creating a better environment so people are able to be more comfortable and live healthier lives and live more fulfilled lives in general. Is that a bad goal? I don't think so.